It is likely that if you're watching this video, you've at some point in your life seen this poster. It is a poster that came to be during the War of 1812, but has since become an American symbol. His name is Uncle Sam. Americans around the world are often regarded as being some of the most patriotic people on the planet. Yes, they love their country. This is largely attributed to the American government and their using of this very poster as propaganda. See, in an ad campaign aimed at recruiting new men to join the army, as well as gaining the support for war among civilians, these very posters featuring Uncle Sam were plastered all over America, even during the First and Second World War. These posters set a prime example of just how powerful and persuasive a message can be when used by an authority figure. Uncle Sam represented just that. He was seen as the establishment, and it is understandable that such a respectable figure giving a direct order, in fact pointing his finger right at you, was effective among the American people. And that it was. The works of Shakespeare have transcended through time and are today as relevant as they ever were. One of, if not the most recognizable pieces of work from this legendary poet has to be Hamlet, one of the most quoted pieces of literature in history. The story of a young prince named Hamlet who seeks revenge on his uncle Claudius for the murders of his father and others to take over the throne of being a king. This story has influenced and continues to influence artists all over the world. In fact, the story of Simba in The Lion King was revealed by writers as being extremely influenced by Hamlet. This is only one example of many. It is the countless angles of perceiving and understanding the characters within Hamlet that continues to demand and pull out the very best of actors across the globe. Popeye is a fictional cartoon character who made his first appearance in a comic strip in 1929. By 1933, he became so beloved that he got his own TV show entitled Popeye the Sailor. His popularity continued to grow and was one of the most popular cartoons from the 1930s all the way through to the 1970s. There is no denying the impact that he has had. For example, the production of spinach, a dwindling industry in the 1930s, has credited Popeye for saving the US spinach industry after seeing a 33% increase in spinach sales, essentially saving the spinach industry in the 1930s. This positive influence has continued. As recently as 2010, a study found that children aged 4 to 5 doubled their vegetable intake after watching Popeye during an 8-week study. On top of encouraging healthy eating, he is also believed to have been the predecessor to modern-day superhero strength as well as their image. I mean, check out those arms. Do you even lift, bro?
This is a man who smokes Marlboro cigarettes. What kind of a man is he?
I'm a guy who likes to work on my car. I like to take it apart and put it back together. I get to working on it and forget where I am, what time it is. I even forget to eat.
You don't forget to smoke, though.
I always smoke when I work. They go together.
Tough, cool, and manly. The Marlboro Man. This cigarette campaign started in 1954, and although it was stopped in the US in 1999, it continues to run around the world today. In an attempt to allure filtered cigarettes to the common working man, this ad campaign featured men in a variety of roles smoking, and it worked. It is said to have been one of the greatest marketing campaigns of all time. It is remarkable. A 300% increase in sales was attributed to this campaign within only the first few years. That in itself proves just how influential the Marlboro Man was and continues to be today.
Would you recommend Marlboro to your friends?
I already have.
Stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. So very noble and kind, right? Robin Hood thought so, but wait, isn't that still theft? Whatever. The English folktale of Robin Hood is that of a part hero, part thief man who always carries with him a bow and arrow as well as a sword. He would go around robbing the rich and giving to the poor. Somehow, this idea has appealed to the masses, dating back to as far as the 15th century. He has withstood the test of time and is still very alive today. He is known as the working man's hero. However, Professor Stephen Knight claims that Robin Hood is but a made-up figment of the imagination. Despite that, his story has inspired, influenced, and encouraged millions of people for decades. It is almost a guarantee that every single person living on planet Earth knows the name Santa Claus. This bearded, fat, and jolly man dressed in red and white has undoubtedly influenced almost every one of us at one point in our lives. Who doesn't remember the fear of not having a present under the tree if we didn't behave? Good old Saint Nick has become extremely synonymous with Christmas and the idea of giving. But why? How has this happened? It's simple. Commercialism. There is a lot of money in using such an influential symbol we've all known since childhood to sell us something. Every company from Coca-Cola to Hallmark to freaking condoms will pay anything to keep Santa synonymous with Christmas and, more importantly, buying and giving gifts. The very thought of a woman working rather than being a stay-at-home wife was a foreign concept pre-World War II. But Rosie the Riveter told women that they could do it, and do it they did. During the Second World War, these posters were put up all over America. The war left millions of jobs vacant and opened up even more new jobs in factories. The American government saw this problem, and their way to fix it may have been the most influential event in the Second World War. They encouraged an entire nation of women to leave their stay-at-home positions and got them into factories. This campaign changed the mindset of women forever. Once the war was over and men returned home to fill their old jobs, it created an issue. Women now knew what they were capable of. Those same people who were telling them that they could do it were now telling them that they couldn't. Men wanted their jobs back, and subsequently, women were often kicked out. But women wouldn't take it and haven't looked back since this time. If it wasn't for Rosie the Riveter, the world we live in today may have looked very different. Barbie was first debuted in 1959 and has since turned into one of the most well-known dolls in the world. Mattel, the owner of Barbie, has even claimed that 3 Barbie dolls are sold every second. At such a large scale, it is no question that these dolls have made quite an impact on young girls. Many have questioned whether a doll with an almost unattainable body image is healthy for young children to consider as a role model. These concerns are verified when you see people like this, who have tried to emulate Barbie. In 1965, Mattel released Slumber Party Barbie set. This set box included a doll, pajamas, a scale set to 110, and maybe most controversially, a book entitled How to Lose Weight. Mickey Mouse, the face of the multi-billion-dollar company you may have heard of, Disney. a small but powerful rodent mouse that came to be in 1928, but by 1929 was a national icon in the United States. Since then, Mickey Mouse has become one of the most recognizable cartoon characters of all time. The ingenious marketing of Walt Disney led to this little mouse appearing in countless brands across the world, as well as comic strips, his own TV show, and even his own theme park. Many celebrities have referenced Mickey Mouse as an inspiration, like Ryan Gosling, Justin Timberlake, and Britney Spears, just to name a few. He has made a remarkable influence on society and kids around the world, and to this day is still among one of the most recognizable characters you'll find.
I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
One of the greatest movie characters of all time, Bond has had an incredible influence on anything spy related for over half a century. Since first debuting in 1962 with Dr. No, the 007 franchise has set and maintained the most classy standard of badassery you can find. It is absolutely astonishing to think that the very same James Bond theme song we all know and love today is still the very same song used in the first James Bond film ever made. This iconic and instantly recognizable composition in itself will forever be known as the epitome of what a spy movie soundtrack should be.